Welcome to River City Plus, the show after the show, the River City After Party, and today we are talking sparkles. So on the show today, I got to introduce you to Laurel Baker, who's been with us before, but today we are talking all about her new buyer's guide for engagement rings. So Laurel, I'm so excited to have you on River City Plus today.
Thank you so much, Jana. It's such a pleasure, and I love this whole setup here. This is exciting.
I know, this is so fun. We actually get to do a deep dive, and I'm so excited we get to do this deep dive with you because we're going to be talking about lab diamonds versus natural diamonds. And it's a big debate in the jewelry industry. And I know as a jeweler, master craftswoman, you deal with this debate a lot, but I love the fact that you're open to lab created diamonds because it really opens up the market for people to have a really beautiful ring for less money.
Wow, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. And I think I'm always just so hyper focused on what my customer wants in their ring that like I said, I'm not biased. I don't put my personal opinion on what, if they want a natural or a lab diamond, because I think there's good reasons to choose both, either. So, and of course, budget is number one.
Yeah.
So with the natural, obviously, you're going to, it jumps once it hits a carat. So, you're expecting to spend probably 20 grand on something that's a carat or more, So that really puts it in perspective whenever you have a lab diamond, because it can be almost a third or half of the cost. So it's that comes into play big time. So if you want like a big rock, on there, you might want to go lab.
Exactly. So. I mean, I like to think of things in proportion, so I'm like, I'm 6'3". So what does that mean? I need to average out at least a 3 or 4 carat.
Yeah, you're going to need a 3 carat for sure.
I'm probably going to need to go lab. Now, I'll tell you when I started thinking about the difference between the two was when I was looking at how much a natural diamond cost. And again, I think they're beautiful. I understand they hold more value. We'll talk about the cost and benefits of both. But for me, it was the thought of carrying that much money around on my hand that I couldn't be spending in life. I'm like, well, how many vacations is that? How many, life experiences is that I'm kind of just holding on my hand when maybe I don't have that extra money just sitting around in my budget. So like you said, I think it plays a great part in that, but what are some of the other benefits or just differences when you're looking at lab versus natural in the shopping process?
Okay, yeah. So with a lab, I kind of equate it to growing like indoor lettuce, or whatever, hydroponic food. It has the same structure as a diamond. It is a diamond, but it's controlled and grown in a lab. Mm-hmm. That way you can control the clarity and the size, so you can get a lot more bang for your buck, so to speak. And some people like the thought of not necessarily mining for their stone, so it can be, an environmental choice.
Right.
But with a natural diamond, it is very, like you said, it is more of an investment, and it will hold its value because it is a natural diamond. And people prefer natural because it took millions of years to create, and it has that power of the earth like that,
Right.
So it does hold a unique power to it, I think. But like you said, if you've got an extra, 20 grand, 25, and you've been wanting that dream natural diamond, then go for it,
Yeah.
So, but with the natural diamond, what I like to do in any instance, whenever someone tells me, hey, I would like, a pear-shaped lab diamond or pear, I actually have a gemstone viewing for things like that. If they want to look at different shapes or maybe compare what they could get as a natural or a diamond or a lab diamond, and we'll look at them and I'll lay them out for them so that they can really see the differences and the pricing, and maybe sometimes they're surprised by what they choose, in the end. So.
Right. And I think that happens a lot when you are looking at big time decisions when it comes to wedding planning. I've heard so many brides or grooms that said, I went in thinking we wanted this, and when I actually saw it, I realized it wasn't what I wanted. I love that you share on your social different gemstone viewings and things like that you set those appointment times so that people can experience different gemstones. Ryan, can we show just a snapshot of Laurel's ring guide? So this is an entire guide that you've published. How long have you been making custom wedding rings?
Well, for about 10 years now, I guess. So, you
So
know,
there's a
yeah.
decade of experience packed into less than 10 pages. So Laurel created this, and it's really a step-by-step guide as to what you want to kind of think through and plan through when you are purchasing an engagement ring. Because again, whether you're going lab or natural, it's a big step in life. It's a big step financially. So you want to make sure that you do it right. Can you give us the highlights of what's in that ring guide?
Okay, well, like I said, it talks about budgeting. So maybe you're comfortable with spending a month's worth of your salary, or maybe you want to go bigger and spend 3 or 4. You know, so
One
it's
year's
really
worth.
or 1 year, 2 years. So that's kind of like
All the guys
like
started
that's
laughing at
something
me. They're
you
like,
you.
they're like, dream big, Jana, dream big,
She's got big dreams. That's
big dreams, manifesting.
Yeah, so it's that's a personal decision. So you got to you really kind of get an idea of that first before you know look at a store or go around, because then you can think, okay, I want to spend about this much. I feel comfortable here, and then you can start doing your research, you know, by comparing if you want to go on foot and go into different shops, you know. So you can kind of get an idea of what people are offering. But before you go into the shop, it's nice to know, I would think, the terminology of the rings.
Right.
And like you said, it's basically your budget, your timeline. Pay attention to what your partner likes, because obviously that's the biggest thing. And then whenever you're deciding budget, timeline, and what your partner likes, I also give you the terms for shapes, metal, different metals and what they mean, so that you can know what you're investing in. And like when you go into the shop, you'll know what shape you're looking for, and you can call it by that shape, or
Right.
you know, by the style of the ring. So that will help, so you can actually describe what you're looking for. And also during that process, I guess I'm going off on a tangent, but
No, I mean,
whenever
listen, that's what
you're
Riverseat Plus is all about. It's
Good,
like
I like
we
this.
want the deep dive, we want the deets. Like you've been doing this for 10 years, so
Yeah,
we want
I'm trying to
all the
get there,
knowledge, all the
get to the back
knowledge.
of my brain here. So, you know, whenever you're, because some people actually, they'll come into my shop and ask me to make them a custom ring after they've gone to other places, and a lot of you know, mainstream jewelry shops, after they've looked in cases and all, and then maybe they decide after that that a custom ring is for them. So, and I think they like my natural and homegrown approach, because, like I said, I only do natural diamonds or anything like that. You know, I'm here to facilitate exactly what you're looking for. And what's cool is I'm not just a designer. I'm not just a business owner. I'm actually the jeweler, you know,
Right.
and the designer. So I have that background of not only interpreting what you want, but I know how to make it, you know,
Right.
and I know that structurally I'm giving you something that's sound and quality. I think obviously that's one of the biggest things. But
Yeah.
so say you go shopping around and you've looked at the guide, you've got all your terminology, you've paid attention to what your partner wants. And so you kind of got an idea now. So you hit the trail, right? So whenever you talk to a jeweler, everybody has their specialty, you know. So some people, they may not do custom regularly. So
Right.
if you approach them to ask you to do a custom, you know, ask them to do a custom ring for you, you may not get what you wanted, you know, because you just want to make sure that person, and look at their work, you know, maybe their style isn't really what you want, so they may not be able to make what you're looking for. So you really have to see what that jeweler's making. Do they offer a custom service, and is it something they're familiar with, you know,
Right.
so that you know it'll go smoothly. But say you don't want custom, say you found that ring right in the case, at least you'll know what you're buying, because you read the buyer's guide. You know what stone you're looking at, the shape, what metal, and if that's the right ring for you.
Yeah,
So.
and I think this buyer's guide is great too, because you even kind of have some aftercare instructions, like, hey, this is when you want to look at making sure you have insurance on it. This is the kind of paperwork you want to look for, because again, you're getting bombarded, you know, going into this kind of process with a lot of decisions that you've got to make, a lot of choices that you've got to make. So I like that you've really highlighted it and made it very clear, clean, and concise. Now, something that I thought was great about this buyer's guide was not only that you kind of put your own knowledge in it, but the fact that you also talk about making it personal. So something that I know that you do is creating heirloom pieces, and I've seen you create, you know, reimagine, you know, people's grandmother's jewelry or their mother's jewelry or their father's jewelry. How do you kind of take inspiration like that and then keep it modern when people, in 2023, 2024 are looking for rings, but they want to incorporate kind of pieces of the past into their design?
I guess it's really for me, I call them like a little ring journey whenever I have a new client and they bring me their pieces, or we're making an engagement ring and we've got to find the certain stone. Whenever people bring me things to remake, I really dissect it and determine what we can take from those pieces and incorporate the new thing. And also, I always ask, what is the main piece? Like, what is the main stone you want in your new piece, or what has to be in the new piece, right? So I don't know. I guess I have this way of whenever we have our session together that I really pick up on everything they're saying and that they want. And I'm able to interpret that. And what I do is I start designing immediately based off of either they brought me stuff or we're starting from scratch.
Right.
And I'll send them designs to a Google photo album, right? Where they can really see everything and they can see how it works and they can say, hey, this is right on the mark, or let's tweak it a little bit. Right. So visually, I like for them to see it really well, so they can feel confident and saying, oh, you did make that work, or you are listening to what I'm wanting in this ring.
Right.
So once I show them those, and I always say, hey, just like enjoy looking at those, take a look and tell me what you think. I try not to put my opinion on it too much other than let's get started on this. I try to interpret exactly what's in their mind on that.
And I think that's great because a lot of times I think when you're going into this kind of buying situation, there's a lot of pressure. Somebody's got to meet a sales goal. I mean, there's just like it's kind of like walking onto a car lot. You just get immediately impacted by things.
Natural diamonds to cars or even lab. So like car buying, used cars, actually.
Yeah.
I hate to bring it down to this level of used cars, but whenever, say somebody wants a natural diamond and they want it, like I want this specific natural diamond, right? To find that, like every diamond has a unique personality, even if it's a lab, so when you're car buying, right?
Yeah.
You go and you look all around at these different cars and they all have their personalities and they all have their, certain, maybe that's the right style, but it was a different paint color.
Right.
Yeah, right. So that's where I come in because sourcing these stones can be tricky and difficult. And so if you want a custom ring made, I do all that work for you. So you come to me, you're like, I want an emerald shaped sapphire center and diamonds all around it for my engagement ring, I will present you with several sapphires to choose from. So you can come in and see it yourself and pick it out yourself. So I think, you can really be tactile too. If you're in the area, you can meet in person and pick out your gemstones.
And I think that's so important. Now, before we go, can you kind of just give us a run through of what that process looks like in terms of a timeline? Because again, it is custom work. Like she's literally making this out of thin air by hand. So what does that process from beginning to end look like if somebody wants to?
And on just buying a ring out of the case, and knowing you want just something real simple, maybe a classic solitaire. You still want to allow for about 3 months of planning and all that from the beginning to the end. Like you don't want to say, hey, I'm going to propose in 2 weeks. Let me go find that ring, because that puts pressure on you and you might end up with something you don't want. So, plan ahead basically.
Right.
But for me, I say allow 8 to 10 weeks. And that just depends on our back and forth a little bit. But from the time we meet to your ring being done, it's about 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh, wow. That fast. I thought you were going to say 8 to 10 months for sure. So
well, it depends
phenomenal.
on, if you...
You're if you're Jana and you're obnoxious.
Jana,
yes.
you might take about five months.
I was like, just with all my anchor stuff that I have, I was like, I don't know how many months. I mean, but I can vouch for you in the fact that I've whipped out a pair of earrings from Forever 21 and said, I really like these, but obviously they disintegrate when they get wet. So can you make an anchor version of these so that I can wear them all the time? And they're, now my new everyday earrings. I
think I like to make things for people and I like to I think I have a knack for making custom for people because
you do.
I think there's something about listening and really translating what they want that I feel like just so satisfied when I hit the mark.
Check her out on social. You want to find her at Anchor Boutique. Now, where can people download this buyer's guide? Because I know it's free for everybody to grab.
Okay. Well, actually, you can go to my website at anchorboutique.com. All you have to do is fill in your email address, and I will email you the complete guide with all the details. So, and then from there, you can always email me back and ask any questions. So.
All right. So Remember, guys, almost 20% of lovebirds are going to be looking for a ring this holiday season. So you want to make sure that you do it local. You can go to somebody, talk to them face to face, get exactly what you want. And the great thing about her is, again, I really encourage you to talk to her openly and freely. It's a safe jewelry boutique. You will love your experience there, whether you're buying jewelry for yourself, like I will be this season, or you were looking for some bling for that ring because you're dropping a knee, whatever it is, we're excited for you. We love that for you. We just want you to do it local, right?
That's right.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us here on River City Plus. We will catch you tomorrow.
Thank you.